Hello, this is Sabina at Cross Keys Crafts with the Visible Image Artist Trading Card Swap for July 2024, and the topic this month is Pretty Pastels. I had a thought about which motif I would like to use or which stamps, and I decided to use the ice creams here. I have made cards with them before. I'm sure there's also at least one card on this channel, but I haven't made an artist trading card with that before, I think, anyway, as far as I can remember, but then I've got brain fog frequently. So my thought was, I'm going to be a bit cheeky this month. I know an artist trading card is 2 inches by 3 inches, but I would like to make an extending artist trading card, which means one that I can unfold, or the recipient can unfold, and yeah, they end up with a slightly bigger ice cream than they thought at the first glance. So I'm going to do a bit of masking today when I'm stamping. I have already gone ahead and stamped this ice cream scoop here, because when I stamp this I can then mask it. This is some Gina K masking magic, it's called, which is basically a masking paper that I can take off, but you don't need this. You can just use some paper and double-sided, sorry, not double-sided adhesive, removable adhesive, something like a roller like this, or you can use a post-it note and use a sticky bit on that. You don't really need this. So I'm going to stamp my scoops just with my acrylic block. I might change my mind and use my stamping platform for the bigger ice cream at the bottom. And I haven't quite planned how many scoops I want, but I have marked here on my A4 piece. Just push it up so you know how far I'm going down here. I've marked a 7-inch line and the width here of the card, because my idea is to still have the card here at the bottom in one piece and then just cut around the scoops, but I'm not quite sure yet whether I will do that. I sometimes change my mind. So all I'm doing is I'm going to use my black ink, which I've just mislaid on the table. Bear with me. So I found this. What you're not aware of, I've got a lot of mess on the side here from my card making from the recent videos. I should really be tidying than procrastinating, but hey. So I'm just inking these up as normal with my VersaFine black onyx. Make sure this is saturated, and I'm going to place that here at the top. I'm giving that a second to dry, or more than a second, whilst I'm peeling this off, because I want this to be dry underneath here. Just trying to peel this off. So, and I can place this now on top of the stamp. It's a bit wonky. Sorry if I've got my hand in the way there. Good thing with these stamps is they've got a thicker outline, so even if that isn't placed properly, it will still look okay. So I can now stamp another scoop on here, and it would look like it's underneath. I will alternate these a little bit so they don't look all the same. I thought about masking this stamp off and putting this in between, but I don't really want to do that much masking, so I'm just going along here. So I think I will just speed this up for the video, but let me zoom in just a little bit. as you could see, I've stamped all my scoops here, and now I'm just adding the big ice cream cone in the same place. I have been mindful when I was touching the masking magic, because the VersaFine doesn't always dry on the top here, so I was mindful not to put my finger into that bit. I'm going to dispose of that now. I could leave that to dry and use again, but it's such a small piece, I'm happy to throw that away. So, and this is the sort of look we get from this. They all obviously look very similar except for the bottom one, but that's okay. I'm hoping that once I've inked them all up, I don't they will look a bit different. I have, for the flavours, because the colour, the theme is pretty pastels, I have put a few inks to the side here. I've got the Salvage Patina, I've got the Picked Raspberry, and I thought a yellow would be nice. I don't really have a pastel yellow, but I've got the Lavinia Stamp Sundance, and I think that might be okay if I do some light ink blending. So I think one thing I will do with this is, because I've just chucked this piece away, I will just get cut myself another mask by basically stamping this, but I also want the bottom edge, so I will actually ink up two. No, I just need one. I'll show you what I do. So I've just got a post-it note out, and I'm just stamping this scoop again. Doesn't even have to be a proper stamp, as long as I can see where I need to cut it. And when I'm cutting this out now, I'm keeping the bottom piece as well, because I will need that as well to mask the scoop below. So because this, for example, I will be cutting around this, I will need this here now when I do the top bit to cover this one, and then when I do the next one, I will need this one here and this one here to ink up this one. So I'm starting with the top one, and as I said, I will be cutting around with that. So I'll get my pink brush out here. I'm starting with some strawberry flavour. Just testing at the top. I really want this to be pastel colour. I don't want this to be too bold. So I'm just doing a light application, and I'm actually going this way here so that I'm not getting underneath that mask. It does seem to get a little bit mucky from the VersaFine ink. It's not quite what I had expected, but I might go over that with my shimmer pen afterwards. There might even be some residue of a darker pink there. So now I'm placing this down here. This one doesn't stick, but it doesn't matter. The top one does stick a little bit. So, and I'm now coming in with the pink, sorry, not pink, with the Salvage Patina, just on the pink. You could also obviously use your pencils. I thought about doing that, but I'm just being a bit, I don't want to call it lazy, but I like the odd shortcut. So this time I need to be a bit mindful how I'm brushing this down without getting under the masks. Don't mind going over the edges. Because it's an oxide, it does actually make the black ink a little bit grey. Don't know if the camera picks that up. I've also got a bit of an edge there now, which I need to, this one was probably a bit too short, I need to get over that a little bit. Just to get rid of that. That's it. So, and then I will continue this with the yellow, and I'll probably do the same flavours again and maybe add a little different shimmer pen, or I don't know yet, maybe some chocolate flakes in the mint chalk. I'm not quite sure yet. I changed my mind about the Sundance, and I'm just using this little ink pad that I filled myself with a refill. A re-inker. There are a few inks where I just bought the re-inker. I'll find out for you which ink it is in a moment, but I'm just using that. Another thing I need to mention is be careful when you've got some residue of ink on these masks now, because if I go this way now, I will brush this ink off and it will definitely blend in. So I need to be a bit mindful not to have too much of that. So I'm rather going sideways now. I don't mind them overlapping a little bit anyway, that's okay. At the moment I'm getting a pretty mucky look actually from these inks, but that's because it's oxides. So as I mentioned before, this looks pretty mucky at the moment because of the oxide. So I'm hoping that when I apply my Spectrum Noir clear overlay, testing it here on the top, that will actually turn shiny again. I could have, if I wanted to, applied some clear embossing powder over the stamping, and then that would hopefully have contained or secured the ink underneath. Yeah, I think once I've cut this out it'll look so much better. Not perfect at the moment. So the other thing I realized when I switched off the camera, and I had my doubts when I said it, but my brain fog just kicked in. I told you an ATC is 2 by 3 inches. That's obviously utter nonsense. It's 2.5 by 3.5 inches. I just had to check it up again on Facebook because my brain would just not remember. So what I'm going to do now is, because it's not quite in the center, I will cut out the whole ice cream. And also, because I'm using a thinner cardstock, this has come through now on the back. So I have to think what I do on the back once I fold this over, although my idea was to fold it twice. So I might have to ink it up on the back as well. And the bottom bit, I will ink this up, I think, with some vintage photo, just to give that a nice colour. And I still think I should do something to the pattern here, but as I said, I cut it first and then I see how it works out. So 2 little tips. First of all, I have cut out this wafer really straight because I can stamp on the actual ATC again, and then I will have the edges as they were before without having to cut them all individually. And the second tip is, this is really fragile at the moment because I have used the Spectrum Noir, which essentially is like water. So when I cut it, I caught a little bit here and it wanted to tear in a few places. I've also inked it up in the back so that when I'm folding it over, it's not bare, and I didn't like the fact that you could see the pattern in the back a little bit. But I think I will come in. I've done the shimmer, which is nice, but it's still, for me, although it's pastel, it's still a bit too plain for me. So I think I will come in with some of my Posca pens. I've got the blue one here. What's it called? It's like a teal colour. Oh, aqua green it's called. So I think that would be nice on there. And I'll probably do a little bit of white. And I thought I'd do a few splats. So I'm getting my spray box ready, and then I'll show you how to do that. So I do apologise for the shade here, because this is my spray box, which is a shoe box, which still got the sides up and the back, so you can't see that. Can I zoom out? Yeah, there we go. And I just folded down the front here so that I can lay my piece in here, and I'm protecting my desk on all sides. So let me just zoom in a little again. So I've got my Posca pen here. I've given that quite a good shake. I'm never really lucky with this, but you can see it's going on nicely. So I'm going to protect, though, my ice cream cone a little bit. I don't want any splats on that. And I'm just taking a little tool here, pen, and I'm just putting this on here. I'm just tapping it like this. You can direct it a little bit by going closer to your stamped images or further away. Just making sure it's flowing nicely. It's a bit better. I've got a few small splats there. That would be nice on the ice cream. I think sometimes I'm not vigorous enough. It always looks so easy when Joe Rice does it. So, and I'm doing the same with the aqua. Unfortunately, I don't have a pink pen. I do have an acrylic glitter pen. Maybe that would work as well. This one I haven't really used before, so let me just prep that off camera. I've been trying to prep this. I've shaken it quite a bit. I've dabbed it off, but I've got no luck at the moment with this. So all I'm doing now is just using it straight on here. I actually will just put it onto the patina coloured bits here. Just give that a little bit of colour. And I shall do the same with the pink and the yellow and just choose a matching glitter pen for those. So I've used my pink Artistro and my yellow Artistro pen. Let me just zoom out a little bit there. And there is my ice cream. I find the dots and the splats take away from the fact that it's a bit sort of dull because I went over the black ink with my oxides rather than inks, which I don't own. But as I said, you could just use normal coloured pencils would work, or even use watercolours, but that's what I chose today and I'm quite happy with this now. So I'm leaving this to dry thoroughly and I'm getting everything ready to create my background. For the background, I don't really want to introduce any more new colours, so I'm just using any residue I've got on my brushes. I know I've used a little bit obviously on the back, but there might be just enough on here to just colour this a little bit. I don't mind them overlapping a little bit for some interest. It's actually quite bright, but still, I think, still pastel-y enough. That could do with a little bit of an inking up. So I'm just putting some residue in here. Don't want to have too much. Light application there. I'm going up here. I think that is all I really need. So I'm keeping it really simple this time. So I leave this to dry for a moment and then I will stamp my ice cone again in the middle. And I will also have a look if there's a sentiment stamp that would fit nicely on this. This obviously comes with different ones. Have a chill day might be quite nice. I'm just popping in to show you this. I was missing a little bit on the stamp here, and because I didn't use my stamping platform, I just came in with the acrylic block again and I ended up with a little bit of double stamping. I don't mind that too much, but it shows now in comparison with that one. So I'm thinking I should do another double stamping but up there, and I'm just inking up my stamp again, but I'm not going in with a full one because obviously this one is a second generation stamping. So I'm just stamping it off. Oh, I actually need proper cardstock because this is too smooth. So I'm just stamping it off here. I will actually do a try run and see what the second generation is like. Yeah, I'll probably go in with a third one. So I'm just placing this over here, hoping that it's sort of slightly offset. I might ruin it completely now and have to do it all again, but it gives a nice shadow. Can you see that? Don't know if the camera picks it up. So it looks definitely more intentional. I'm thinking about whether I want to go in with a different coloured shadow. I think that would be nice. So I just have a quick look what colours I have. So I have just used this is Spectrum Noir ink. This is not actually for stamping. It's not very good. It's more for ink blending. But that gives it the subtle look I wanted. And it looks very intentional. I can now apply glue all over the image here. If I say all over, obviously not the specks on the outside. I try to go as close to the edge as I can without my glue wanting to ooze out. I think that'll be enough. And I will place this over the stamped image. So when it's in place, I can press it down. And I hope you can see now what I meant with that I didn't have to cut it exactly, because the background now gives me that illusion that I've cut it out properly. I probably have to clean up a little bit here because I tore the paper there. What I do is I just zoom in and show you the before. There is a little piece, like a little cut, which is white now because the core shows. So by just applying a little bit of black ink, that immediately disappears. So I'm leaving that to dry for a moment before I do my folding and scoring, because obviously I want this to fold down. So for this last step, I could use my scoring board, but I just use a silicone mat. This is cut from a kitchen mat, a ruler, and then obviously my scoring tool. So, and I will put my ruler down here. The important thing is I'm doing it straight, and I will just put a score line just above the end of the card. I will actually move it just over a little bit because this is where I would like to fold it. And I'm doing it gently because I don't want that paper to tear. This I think is a 220. I could have probably used something slightly thicker, but it's fine. I didn't want it to be too thick because I wanted it to fold nicely. So once I've done that, I can fold this over. It still wants to peel off a little bit because it's still, the glue is still a little bit wet, so but that's okay. I can just press it down here. So, and now I need to decide how often I want to fold it. I want this ice cream to be visible from the front, and I want it to end on an ice cream scoop. But I'm thinking if I fold it like this and maybe do 2 more. Is that correct? 1 down, 1 up, 1... Oh, I have to think now. Bear with me. So I think I sorted my brain. What I mustn't forget is that when I fold this back and forth, it should never stick out further than here. I could have actually, rather than sticking the whole thing down, I could have sort of folded it there and had all this space to fold it, but it doesn't really matter. So I think I should fold this again in, I could do it for every flavour, or could do it here, could do it there. I think that would be fine. So if I tell you what, I use a different tool for that because I need to make sure that these are straight. So I'm using this tool. I still haven't looked up what it's called, and then I can align this here and know where to put my fold lines. So putting one here. So when I fold this down, this one will fold up. And I want to do one more, and I think, because I don't want to look at the back, do I? I could put a message on the back and telling the recipient to fold it down. So if I fold it just where the blue ice cream is, that would work. Just where that starts. I hope my brain's not playing tricks on me now. So that one, and then that one. And then I could fold this up if I wanted to. Do I want it to? I'll just have a quick look off camera. Yeah, so I've decided I'm going to put another score line there. So have a play with yours. Here what, I'll put it in from the back because then I can see whether it's straight. So about there. I think that should be fine. Hope you can see this now. It's fairly even there. It's more trial and error than actually measuring it properly. But I think this way it looks nicer if you've got a little piece of ice cream there. And I think then it's obvious for the recipient that they have to pull it out. Yeah. Except for that, it's still quite flimsy. I think it still needs to dry. I think I'm quite pleased with this. I'm going to create a very quick card off camera because I'm a bit stuck for time. So I think I will do something similar to here with just the ice cream on the front. And yeah, I think I'll leave it this. So I won't say goodbye just yet because I will post this picture of my actual card at the end of this video. But yeah, if you like this one, you might want to give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you soon with another video.